You didn't quit on day one, and you didn't give up when everything felt exciting. You quit later, when it became boring, slow, and uncomfortable. Think about it for a moment. You started that goal full of energy, with a new notebook, a fresh routine, and big promises to yourself. For a few days, maybe even weeks, you showed up and felt proud of yourself. Then life happened. Results didn't come fast enough, motivation slowly disappeared, and that quiet voice in your head started whispering, maybe this isn't for me. Here's the truth most people never tell you. The difference between winners and quitters isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. It's a mindset that only shows up after the excitement dies. Winners and quitters both feel lazy, doubtful, and like quitting far more often than you think. The real difference isn't how they feel, it's how they respond to those feelings. Quitters treat emotions like commands. If they don't feel motivated, they stop. If they feel bored, they quit. If they feel unsure, they wait. Winners treat emotions like background noise. They notice them, but they don't obey them. Motivation comes and goes, confidence fades, excitement disappears. But winners don't panic when that happens. They don't ask, why do I feel like this? Instead, they ask, what needs to be done anyway? This is the shift most people never make. They think consistency requires feeling good, but consistency actually requires tolerating discomfort. Once you stop expecting positive emotions to carry you forward, you stop quitting every time things get hard. That's when progress finally becomes possible. Here it is, the mindset that separates winners from quitters. Winners play the long game, while quitters chase feelings. Quitters live in today's emotions, but winners act for tomorrow's results. Quitters ask themselves, do I feel like doing this right now? Winners ask a different question, what does future me need today? That's the difference. Winners don't wait to feel ready, confident, or inspired. They move while feeling tired. They work while feeling unsure, and they show up even when they're bored. Not because they're special, but because they've accepted something powerful. Progress doesn't feel good most of the time. If you only act when you feel motivated, you'll always stop early. But when you act based on identity, when you say, I'm someone who finishes, quitting stops being an option. Winners aren't emotionally stronger than everyone else. They're just less controlled by their emotions, and that single difference changes everything. Let's make this real. Two students start preparing for exams. Same syllabus, same potential. The first student studies only when they feel productive. On good days, they work. On bad days, they stop. The second student studies even on low-energy days, just a little, but consistently. 3 months later, the gap between them is massive, not because one was smarter, but because one stayed. This same pattern shows up everywhere, in fitness, in learning a skill, in building a career. The quitter waits for the perfect mood. The winner creates progress in imperfect conditions. And here's the scary part. From the outside, it looks like talent. People say things like, they're just disciplined, or they're naturally consistent. What nobody sees are the days they wanted to stop and didn't. Consistency hides effort. Quitting exposes excuses. And over time, small decisions compound into completely different lives. Here's another truth most people avoid. Winners don't avoid pain, they expect it. They don't panic when things feel hard, and they don't assume something's wrong. They understand one simple rule. If it's uncomfortable, you're probably growing. Boredom doesn't mean failure. Struggle doesn't mean you're bad at it. Slow progress doesn't mean it's pointless. It means you're in the middle. Quitters see discomfort as a stop sign, but winners see it as confirmation. That's why winners stay longer, not because it's easier, but because they've trained their tolerance. They don't ask, how do I feel? They ask, can I handle this discomfort a little longer? And every time they do, quitting loses its power over them. Let's make this practical. Step 1 is to detach from results.
Stop measuring success by outcomes and start measuring it by showing up. Did you study today? That's a win. Did you train today? That's a win. Step 2 is to lower your emotional expectations. Stop expecting motivation, confidence, or excitement. Instead, expect boredom and resistance. That way, when they show up, they won't scare you into quitting. Step 3 is to build identity, not goals. Don't say, I want to succeed. Say, I'm someone who doesn't quit when it's uncomfortable. Identity lasts longer than motivation, and when quitting stops being an option, progress becomes inevitable. Here's the shift that changes everything. You don't become a winner after you succeed after you stop quitting. Winners are built in silence, on boring days, on low-energy days, and on days when no one claps for you. Ask yourself honestly, what have you been stopping too early? And what would happen if you stayed just a little longer? Most people are closer than they think. They just leave before the results arrive. Once you start seeing yourself as someone who stays, something powerful happens. You stop starting over and you start finishing. And that's where real change begins. Let me leave you with this. You don't need more motivation, a new strategy, or a fresh start. You need to stay. Stay when it's boring. Stay when it's slow. Stay when your emotions tell you to stop. Because winners aren't people who never struggle. They're people who don't leave during the struggle. You're not behind. You're not incapable. You're just early. So don't quit today. Finish the rep. Finish the page. Show up tomorrow. That's how winners are made.